Picture this. It's 8 p.m., your automated lighting scene is halfway through its elegant evening transition, and then the power blinks. Everything freezes. Your carefully orchestrated routines just stop. That's the moment you realize your smart home's invisible intelligence has become painfully visible. I'm Keiko Tanaka, and I specialize in making technology disappear into the architecture of your home. Today, we're looking at the battery systems that keep that seamless automation running even when the grid doesn't. You're listening to Smart Home Setup Podcast. Quick note before we jump in. The research, the data, the entire script you're about to hear, all of that is 100% human verified and written by real authors. The voice you're hearing, though, that's AI generated. Just wanted to put that out there up front. If you've been listening for a while, thanks for being here. It really does make a difference. And if you're just discovering the show, welcome. We're happy you're here. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so there's always something new to explore. Now, here's what we've got for you today. A whole home battery backup system doesn't just keep the lights on, it preserves the seamless flow of your automated routines, the quiet intelligence woven into walls and thresholds. We're examining the battery systems that support that continuity, focusing on how they interact with the protocols and hubs that govern modern automation: Zigbee, Z-Wave, Thread, Matter, and Wi-Fi. Each system varies in switchover latency, protocol compatibility during grid transitions, and how gracefully your automations recover when power returns. Now, let's talk about the Tesla Powerwall 3. It remains the benchmark for whole home battery integration, not because it speaks every protocol natively, it doesn't, but because its Wi-Fi-based monitoring and control API pairs elegantly with Home Assistant, SmartThings, and other platforms that do orchestrate multi-protocol environments. You get 13.5 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity and a continuous output of 11.5 kilowatts. That's enough to sustain an entire smart home, including multiple Zigbee and Z-Wave hubs, Wi-Fi access points, and Thread border routers, through extended outages. Check the link below to see the current price. The system's sub-10 milliseconds switchover latency means your Zigbee mesh and Matter over Thread networks remain live without a single device dropping offline. In practice, this preserves automation states. If your evening ritual scene dims the lights at 8 p.m. and the grid fails at 7:58 p.m., the scene executes as written. No manual resets, no stalled routines. Tesla's Storm Watch feature pre-charges the battery when severe weather approaches and integrates via REST API. This lets you write automation logic like, if there's a storm warning, set the Powerwall reserve mode to 100% and notify the household that the battery's fully charged and automations are protected. This kind of proactive preparation ensures your smart home backup power solutions remain invisible until you need them. Here's a compatibility note worth knowing. Powerwall 3 requires a Wi-Fi connection for monitoring and remote control. If your home automation depends on local processing, say Home Assistant running on a dedicated server, make sure your network infrastructure sits downstream of the Powerwall. Your router, switches, PoE injectors for access points, all of it. Otherwise, you'll lose hub connectivity the moment the grid drops, even if the battery is live. The honest drawback: installation requires a certified Tesla installer, and scheduling can stretch months depending on your region. The unit itself is large, 45 inches by 24 inches by 7 inches, and while it's designed for garage or exterior mounting, concealing it aesthetically in a finished interior space demands custom millwork or strategic alcove placement. For design-conscious homeowners, consider mounting it in a utility closet with ventilated louvered doors or behind a hinged panel in the garage that matches adjacent cabinetry. The unit's off-white finish blends into most neutral palettes, but it won't disappear the way an in-wall switch does. Moving on to the Enphase IQ Battery 5P. This brings modularity and quiet operation to whole home battery backup design. Each unit delivers 5 kilowatt hours of usable capacity. Stack up to 4 units for 20 kilowatt hours total to match your home's load profile. Then integrate them with Enphase's local API for protocol-agnostic monitoring. Check the link below to see the current price. What sets Enphase apart is its seamless pairing with solar microinverters, creating a distributed energy system that supports continuous automation even during multi-day outages. If you've invested in smart irrigation controllers with weather integration or autonomous yard equipment, Enphase can prioritize critical loads, hubs, routers, NAS storage, while shedding non-essential circuits like outdoor landscape lighting until solar production resumes at sunrise. Switchover latency sits around 15 to 20 milliseconds, slightly slower than Tesla but still fast enough to keep Zigbee meshes and thread networks alive. Enphase's automatic islanding transitions your home to backup power without manual intervention, and your automations continue as if nothing happened. Where Enphase excels is scalability. Start with one 5 kilowatt-hour unit, then add more as your automation footprint grows. Each battery communicates over Zigbee, yes, the same protocol as your smart bulbs, specifically Zigbee Pro for inter-battery coordination. This means your home's Zigbee mesh can coexist without interference as long as you're using non-overlapping channels. If your Philips Hue bridge operates on Zigbee channel 15, configure your Enphase system's internal Zigbee network to channel 11 or 25. On compatibility, Enphase batteries require an Enphase Envoy gateway for monitoring and control. The Envoy connects via an Ethernet and exposes a local web interface plus JSON API endpoints. This makes it trivial to pull battery state of charge data into Home Assistant or Node-RED for conditional logic. For instance, if battery state of charge drops below 20%, disable non-critical automations and send a notification that you're conserving power. This lets you script fallback automations during power outages that prioritize essential devices. The honest drawback, the modular design means more physical footprint. 4 IQ5P units occupy roughly 48 inches by 20 inches of wall space when stacked vertically, and each weighs 112 pounds. Mounting them in a finished living area requires structural support and careful attention to ventilation. They generate modest heat during charge and discharge cycles. Most installations end up in garages or mechanical rooms, which is fine functionally but limits integration into invisible design schemes unless you're willing to invest in custom enclosures. Let's look at the LG Chem RESU16H Prime. It offers 16 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity in a compact, wall-mountable enclosure, making it a strong choice when floor space is at a premium. Its IP55 rating allows both indoor and outdoor installation, and the unit's neutral gray finish recedes visually against most garage or utility room walls. Check the link below to see the current price. For whole home battery backup applications, the RESU16H pairs with hybrid inverters from SolarEdge, SMA, or Fronius. Each offers varying degrees of Wi-Fi and Ethernet connectivity for remote monitoring. The inverter, not the battery itself, handles protocol translation and API exposure, so your integration experience depends entirely on inverter choice. Switchover latency ranges from 10 to 25 milliseconds depending on inverter model. SolarEdge's StoreEdge inverters, for example, deliver sub-15 millisecond transitions, keeping Z-Wave and Zigbee meshes live. SMA's Sunny Boy storage models sit closer to 20 to 25 milliseconds, which occasionally causes Zigbee devices on the network perimeter to drop and rejoin. Annoying, but not fatal. Where LG Chem shines is silent operation. Unlike some battery systems that emit a faint hum during charge cycles, the RESU16H runs nearly silent. This makes it suitable for installation near living spaces, behind a closet wall, for instance, or in a finished basement mechanical alcove. Pair it with a fanless inverter, and you eliminate the last vestiges of audible tech intrusion.
Energy management automation is straightforward if you're using a SolarEdge inverter with their monitoring platform, which exposes Modbus TCP endpoints for real-time battery data. Pull this into Home Assistant or Habitat and script conditional logic like if grid status is offline and battery state of charge is above 50%, run the evening lighting scene. Otherwise, run low power mode. This allows your energy-saving automations to adapt dynamically based on available battery capacity.
Here's a compatibility caveat. The RESU16H requires a compatible hybrid inverter, which adds $2,000 to $4,000 to total system cost. Not all inverters support the same depth of API integration. Verify that your chosen inverter exposes the data points your automation platform needs before purchasing. SolarEdge's API is robust but proprietary. SMA's Sunny Portal offers broader third-party integration but slower update intervals. 30-second polling versus real-time Modbus. The honest drawback? The RESU16H is a single monolithic unit. You can't add capacity later. If your smart home grows, more outdoor cameras, additional thread border routers, expanded climate zones, you're stuck with 16 kilowatt hours unless you install a second complete battery plus inverter stack. Plan capacity conservatively. Next up is the Generac PWR Cell M6. This takes a modular approach, similar to Enphase, but with larger individual modules. Each battery cabinet holds 3 kilowatt-hour modules, and you can install 3 to 6 modules per cabinet for 9 to 18 kilowatt-hours total. Scale up to 2 cabinets for 36 kilowatt-hours. That's overkill for most homes, but ideal if you're running extensive autonomous landscaping tech or whole home climate control through multi-day outages. Check the link below to see the current price. Generac's PWR View app connects via Wi-Fi and offers basic monitoring plus load-shedding controls. The system's automatic transfer switch delivers sub-20 millisecond switchover, keeping your Zigbee and Z-Wave hubs online through transitions. Where Generac differentiates itself is native generator integration. If you already own a Generac whole home generator, the PWR cell acts as a first responder battery that covers the 10 to 15 second generator startup lag, ensuring zero interruption to your automation routines. This hybrid approach, battery handling instant switchover, generator providing extended runtime, is explored in depth in our battery backup versus generator comparison. For smart homes, it's the best of both worlds. Your Zigbee mesh never drops, and you get effectively unlimited runtime as long as you have fuel. On protocol considerations, Generac's API is more limited than Tesla's or Enphase's. PWR View exposes basic battery state and load data via a RESTful API, but documentation is sparse, and community-built integrations, Home Assistant, Habitat, are less mature. Expect to spend time scripting conditional polling loops if you want conditional automations based on battery state. The honest drawback? The PWR cell cabinets are large, 50 inches by 29 inches by 10 inches per unit, and industrial in appearance. The gray metal enclosures don't lend themselves to invisible integration. They're designed for garage or basement mounting and scream equipment. If aesthetic discretion matters, budget for custom enclosures or plan installation in a mechanical room you can close off. Now let's talk about the Sonnen Battery 10 performance. It delivers 10 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity in a sleek, modular enclosure designed to live in finished spaces. Its matte black or white finish and compact form factor, 59 inches by 24 inches by 9 inches, make it one of the few battery systems I've specified for client homes, where the unit sits in a hallway alcove or repurposed coat closet, visible but not visually intrusive. Check the link below to see the current price. What sets Sonnen apart is native smart home integration. The battery's Ethernet and Wi-Fi interfaces expose a local API with real-time data on charge state, load, and grid status. The company offers official Home Assistant and SmartThings integrations, which is rare in this category. This means you can write automation logic without reverse engineering API endpoints. For example, if Sonnen battery's state of charge drops below 30%, disable the outdoor pathway lights automation and send a notification that you're conserving power. Sonnen's 8 to 12 millisecond switchover latency is among the fastest, ensuring your thread and Matter networks remain stable through transitions. The system also supports time-of-use optimization. Charge the battery during off-peak hours, then discharge during peak rates, reducing utility costs even when the grid is stable. This peak and off-peak automation logic pairs beautifully with real-time energy monitoring to create a truly intelligent power management system. On compatibility, Sonnen battery requires Sonnen's proprietary inverter, which is included with the system but limits flexibility if you want to mix and match components. The inverter communicates over Modbus TCP, and Sonnen provides detailed register maps for advanced integrations, useful if you're running Node-RED or Home Assistant with custom dashboards. The honest drawback? Capacity is fixed at 10 kilowatt-hours. Sonnen offers larger models, Sonnen Battery 15 and 20, but you can't incrementally expand a 10 kilowatt-hour unit later. The system is also among the priciest per kilowatt-hour. Expect to pay around $15,000 to $18,000 installed for the 10 kilowatt-hour model, compared to $12,000 to $14,000 for comparable LG Chem or Enphase setups. Check the link below to see the current price. Let's look at Franklin Home Power, or FHP. This is a relative newcomer but has gained traction for its 13.6 kilowatt-hour capacity, 9 kilowatt continuous output, and sub-10 millisecond switchover, specs that mirror Tesla Powerwall 3 at a slightly lower installed cost, around $11,000 to $13,000 versus $13,000 to $15,000 for Tesla. Check the link below to see the current price.
Franklin's Wi-Fi connected gateway exposes a local API with JSON endpoints for battery state, grid status, and load monitoring. The company actively supports Home Assistant integration via a community-maintained plugin, and the API's low latency, 200 to 300 millisecond response times, makes it suitable for real-time automations, like if grid status is offline, set HVAC mode to eco and disable the pool pump automation. Switchover performance is excellent. Your Zigbee and Z-Wave meshes remain stable, and Matter over Thread devices don't even blink. Franklin's battery chemistry, LFP, lithium iron phosphate, offers longer cycle life than the NMC chemistry in Tesla's older Powerwall 2. This means the system should retain 80% capacity after 6,000 plus cycles versus 4,000 for NMC. On compatibility, Franklin integrates with most residential solar inverters via AC-coupled architecture. That means the battery connects on the AC side of your electrical panel, rather than requiring a specific DC-coupled solar inverter. This makes retrofitting existing solar systems straightforward. The honest drawback? Franklin's industrial design is utilitarian, a gray metal box that looks like server rack equipment. The unit measures 49 inches by 26 inches by 7 inches and weighs 265 pounds, so wall mounting requires significant structural support. Installation aesthetic is garage grade. If you want the unit in a finished space, plan for custom cabinetry or panel concealment. Next is the SolarEdge Energy Bank. This offers modular capacity in 9 kilowatt-hour increments, with up to 3 units stackable for 27 kilowatt-hours total. Each battery measures 39 inches by 25 inches by 7 inches and installs vertically, making it space-efficient for tight mechanical rooms or garage corners. Check the link below to see the current price. SolarEdge's deep integration with their solar inverters and monitoring platform means you get real-time energy flow visualization. Track how much power flows between solar, battery, grid, and loads at any moment. The SolarEdge app connects via Wi-Fi or Ethernet and exposes a Modbus TCP interface for automation platforms. For whole home battery backup applications, SolarEdge's 10 to 15 millisecond switchover keeps your protocol hubs online through transitions. The system's backup mode lets you designate critical loads, routers, hubs, NAS, refrigerator, that receive power first when the battery is low, while non-critical circuits like pool equipment or EV chargers are shed until capacity improves. Here's an automation example. If battery state of charge drops below 25% and grid status is offline, switch load priority to critical only and disable the landscape irrigation automation. This kind of conditional logic ensures your smart home hub protection takes priority over convenience automations when power is scarce.
On compatibility, requires a SolarEdge inverter with StoreEdge technology, usually the SE7600H-US or SE10000H-US models. If you're starting from scratch, this is fine. If you have an existing solar system with a different inverter brand, retrofitting becomes costly. The honest drawback? SolarEdge's modular approach means cleaner scalability, but each 9 kilowatt-hour module costs around $7,000 installed, slightly higher per kilowatt-hour than competitors. The energy bank also lacks the refined industrial design of Sonnen or Tesla. It's functional but visually equipment-like, best suited to spaces you don't showcase. Let's talk about the Electric Power Pod 2. This delivers 15 kilowatt-hours in a compact floor-standing enclosure, 32 inches by 23 inches by 49 inches, with integrated inverter and transfer switch. Everything in one box. This all-in-one design simplifies installation and reduces component count, which can improve reliability. Fewer connection points equals fewer failure modes. Check the link below to see the current price. PowerPod's Wi-Fi gateway offers basic monitoring via mobile app, and the system exposes a RESTful API for integration with Home Assistant or Habitat. Switchover latency is 15 to 20 milliseconds, adequate for keeping Zigbee and Z-Wave meshes alive, but occasionally causing Thread border routers to hiccup and reconnect. Typical recovery time is 3 to 5 seconds. Where electric differentiates is price. Installed costs typically run $10,000 to $12,000 for 15 kilowatt-hours. That undercuts Tesla and Sonnen by $2,000 to $3,000. For budget-conscious homeowners building whole-home battery backup systems, PowerPod 2 delivers solid performance without premium branding markup. On compatibility, the integrated inverter means no additional components to spec, but you lose flexibility to mix and match. The inverter's 5 kilowatt continuous output is lower than competitors. Tesla Powerwall 3 does 11.5 kilowatts. Enphase IQ 5P does 7.68 kilowatts with 2 units. So homes with high instantaneous loads, whole home heat pumps, induction ranges, EV chargers may experience load shedding during outages. The honest drawback? The PowerPod 2's industrial aesthetic, brushed aluminum with exposed ventilation slots, doesn't lend itself to living space integration. It's designed for garages or utility rooms and looks the part. Community-built API integrations are less mature than Tesla or Enphase, so expect more troubleshooting if you're scripting advanced automations. So how did we make these picks? These recommendations emerge from years spent specifying power systems for homes where automation isn't a novelty but essential infrastructure, where lighting scenes respond to circadian rhythms, climate zones anticipate occupancy, and exterior routines follow seasonal solar angles. A battery system that drops your Zigbee mesh mid-transition or requires manual resets after switchover breaks that invisible flow. We prioritized switchover latency below 20 milliseconds, fast enough to keep mesh networks live without device reconnection delays. We evaluated protocol compatibility not just in terms of manufacturer claims, but through real-world testing. Does the battery's monitoring gateway coexist with Zigbee and Thread networks without channel interference? Does the API expose granular data points needed for conditional automations? Capacity and scalability mattered less than architectural fit. A 10 kilowatt-hour system that mounts cleanly in a hallway alcove often serves better than a 20 kilowatt-hour behemoth relegated to a detached garage, requiring separate conduit runs and adding points of failure. We favored systems with local API access, Wi-Fi or Ethernet interfaces that function without cloud dependencies, because automation reliability shouldn't hinge on internet connectivity during outages. Finally, we insisted on honest aesthetic assessment. Most battery systems are industrial equipment, and pretending otherwise does readers no service. Where a product demands concealment or custom enclosure, we said so clearly. The goal is automation that disappears. If the equipment can't, you deserve to know before purchasing. Let me hit a few frequently asked questions. First, do whole home battery systems work with Zigbee and Z-Wave hubs during power outages? Yes, they work seamlessly as long as the battery's switchover latency is below 20 milliseconds. Most modern systems, Tesla Powerwall 3, Sonnen Battery, Franklin Home Power, achieve sub-15 millisecond transitions, which keeps mesh networks alive without devices dropping offline or requiring manual reconnection. Your hubs, routers, and access points must be on the battery-backed circuits, and you should verify that smart device fallback behaviors are configured to maintain automations rather than defaulting to off states when power flickers. Can you integrate battery state data into Home Assistant or SmartThings for conditional automations? Yes. Most whole home battery systems expose battery state data via local APIs, Wi-Fi, or Ethernet interfaces that integrate with Home Assistant, SmartThings, or Habitat. Tesla Powerwall, Enphase IQ, Sonnen Battery, and Franklin Home Power all offer either official integrations or well-documented RESTful APIs. These let you pull real-time data on state of charge, grid status, and load metrics, enabling conditional automations like disabling non-critical routines when battery drops below 30% or prioritizing hub power during extended outages. Will Matter and Thread devices stay connected during battery switchover? Matter and Thread devices typically stay connected during battery switchover if latency is below 15 milliseconds, though Thread border routers occasionally experience brief reconnection delays, 3 to 5 seconds, even with fast switchover. This rarely affects end device functionality because Thread's mesh architecture allows devices to find alternate routes, but you may notice a momentary pause in automations that rely on instant response. That's why configuring fallback automations to account for brief network stabilization periods ensures smoother transitions. How do you calculate the battery capacity needed to keep your smart home running during outages? First, inventory all critical devices: hubs, Zigbee, Z-Wave, Thread, routers, access points, NAS storage. Sum their continuous power draw in watts, then multiply by the outage duration in hours to get watt-hours needed. Divide by 1,000 to convert to kilowatt-hours. For example, if your hubs and network gear draw 150 watts combined and you want 12 hours of runtime, you need 1.8 kilowatt-hours minimum, though we recommend adding 30% buffer for inverter efficiency losses and future expansion. Our runtime calculation guide provides detailed worksheets and protocol-specific power consumption data. A whole home battery backup system earns its place when it operates so transparently you forget it exists, until the evening your neighbor's lights go dark and your climate routine continues undisturbed. Your pathway lighting still fades to amber at dusk, your morning coffee still brews at 6:47 a.m. The systems here deliver that invisibility, each with trade-offs in capacity, cost, and aesthetic discretion. Choose based on how the equipment integrates into your space, not just its spec sheet, and ensure your automation platform can speak the battery's language through API access. The goal isn't resilience as a feature, it's resilience you never notice until you need it. Thanks for listening to this episode of Smart Home Setup Podcast. New episodes come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you'll always have something fresh to check out. If you found this helpful, it'd mean the world if you could leave a quick 5-star rating and a review. Honest truth,
That's how other people find the show. It makes a real difference. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe or follow so you get notified the second a new episode drops. We'll catch you next time.